New York Times reporting that Ronna Romney McDaniel, who is, of course, the chairwoman of the Republican National Committee, has tested positive for coronavirus. Meanwhile, we're also getting developments on the fiscal stimulus front. Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, saying that the discussions with the White House on fiscal stimulus are going to continue. She made those remarks on MSNBC. Washington has woken up this morning to confusion, to a flurry of messages from the White House, from staffers, all as the White House contact tracing team tries to alert individuals who were in close proximity to the president, to the first lady, to senior staffers who have contracted COVID-19.
It's a high-profile track and trace like we've never seen in the last 6 or 7 months, Kevin. The former Vice President, Joe Biden, must be part of that. What we've heard from him this morning is just the following tweet. Jill and I send our thoughts to President Trump and the First Lady Melania Trump for a swift recovery. We continue to pray for the health and safety of the president and his family. We all share that sentiment, Kevin. What we don't know is the result of the former VP's test. And I think that the market here on Wall Street, I think that's a question that's being asked as well, Kevin. What do we know so far?
We know that Vice President Biden is going to be tested today for the coronavirus and that likely those results will be made public. We know that we are not expecting to hear from President Trump himself in the coming hours this morning. It's unclear if that will change and whether or not he will address the country sometime today. We also know that Vice President Mike Pence has tested negative for the coronavirus, and now virtually every cabinet member is releasing statements. Secretary Mnuchin has tested negative for the virus. Secretary Pompeo has said that he, who has been traveling, has tested negative for the coronavirus as well. So it's a rapid story where senior principals are going to be announcing their health status. But for the president, the immediate development is how he communicates his health in real time with the backdrop of an entire country behind him, but also, of course, so close to the November 3rd election.
So, Kevin, let's talk about the process around the November 3rd election. So many people turn to the logistics, the how. Let's talk about the what. I don't believe in single-issue elections. I think that for different people, different issues matter more than others. I think for this election campaign, though, it will be difficult to talk about anything other than COVID-19 and coronavirus. Kevin, what are you hearing from the campaign team at the moment this morning?
Confusion. And I think that in and of itself is illustrative of whether or not there was a communicative plan in place for what would happen should the president get COVID-19, as he has now tested positive for. So there is confusion. It's unknown whether or not there is going to be an immediate plan. We should note that the most high-profile domestic political event is 14 days away. If following CDC guidelines, typically they advise 2 weeks of quarantine. And so that in and of itself raises questions of the next high-profile political calendar mark at this particular race. Now, beyond that, I think it's one of the things that we don't want to speculate, we don't want to go into hypotheticals, but in the immediate 24 hours, people are going to want to know precisely how President Trump is feeling, what his symptoms are, and if he is governing in the White House.